albums come in many different qualities. This week, we'll be looking at one of ICP's cinematic efforts. It's just this way, at the Dim Carnival.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dim Carnival. I'm Bill.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Ryan.
Legit have no idea how the show used to start, but I mean, that's good enough.
I think you got it.
That works.
Yeah.
Well, what I've got is one thing to talk about this week. One thing in the form of two things, and that's we're talking about none other than bowling balls.
Now I get some therapy, I'm feeling much better. I'm happy forever, me and my craniums together. They all over the house and they roll around the floor. And if it's got an afro, I use it for a pillow. I'm ill though, I never should have worried anyway. I shoot head hoops and don't care what people say. You can ask Dr. Wiggle Farmer for yourself. He's the third head down, top row, third shelf. Faces, people know more than names. The hair is there and all the brains. Your head would mean so much to me. Heads up, y'all. Your head would mean so much to me. I won't diss you. You wanna wear a hat? What? How you want your eyelids open or shut? Your head would mean so much.
We're talking about the track off of Hell's Pit, but we're also talking about the movie, which is a glorified music video, which came on a DVD that was bundled with Hell's Pit. But it also, I don't remember if it was like in 3D, if it came with 3D glasses. I don't think so.
Uh-huh.
Did it?
I think it was in 3D because he does the flowers thing
Yeah.
in the first scene.
But you can watch the video on YouTube in all of its glory. The whole thing's up there, 20 whatever minutes of it. But we're going to talk about the song as a song first, and then we're going to discuss the related movie / music video. There is a straight up music video of it that's just the music video parts from the movie in the correct order without gaps. So you can also watch that. But I mean, if you watch the movie, the video is baked into it. So, what I thought was very interesting to get us started with is if you just type in bowling balls into Google without like ICP or lyrics or whatever, just bowling balls. Like the very first thing you see is like a link to buy a bowling ball that has like it's clear with a skull inside it. So that's fun. Or it might just be my tailored Google suggestions since I'm like constantly looking up stuff about serial killers and stuff.
Just a big fan of Mystery Man.
And Insane Clown Posse lyrics, I guess.
Well, I'm glad we're doing it this way because I think it's more fun to talk about it this way. It's a special song. It gets a little bit of special credit.
Is it a special song?
Well, I mean, it's like the single, right? It's the first single. And they made a movie about it. So, yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay.
You talk about it.
I mean, giving it shine. You know, we're doing a whole Bowling Balls episode. It's cool.
I'm actually quite happy because this is like my favorite song off this album. So I'm pretty sure. And this has been in my rotation of just songs to listen to for a long time. So
I do want to say that on the Hell's Pit Wikipedia page, it says that this track was music by Esham and Violent J. But on the Bowling Balls Wikipedia page, it says the producers are Mike P. and ICP, and the songwriters are Joe Bruce and Mike P. So we got a little discrepancy.
Interesting.
It says, it says here on Wikipedia that, as with the rest of the album, Bowling Balls features a hip-hop oriented sound and features none of the rock influence of the Wraith Shangri-La. Hip-hop oriented. This rap song.
I thought there was like an element.
Now it says, elsewhere on the page it says, as produced by Esham, Bowling Balls was intended as a throwback to the latter half of Carnival of Carnage. But then it says that it was not produced by, I don't know. There's some conflicting information here. A remix of this song was produced by Monoxide and on the remix album, so we got that to look forward to. It samples the drum beat of Justify My Love by Madonna. That's fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, I was on mute. It's okay. It is Justify My Love, but I don't think that they got it from Madonna.
Right. It's from Public Enemy, which is from James Brown.
Right. Well, yes. So the original sample is James Brown, track called Funky Drummer. And that was sampled by Public Enemy for their track Security of the First World, which is an instrumental track. And then that same drum beat was also used in the Madonna song Justify My Love, which I haven't heard since probably the 90s. When I pulled that up, got to check in on how Madonna's doing.
How's Madonna doing? She doing all right?
Well, in the 90s, she was doing very well. Sure, this track, Justify My Love, was the sex book that she put out.
Oh, yeah.
Erotica? Is that what it was called?
Or
was it called Sex?
I think it's called Sex, yeah.
It's called Sex. Sex
some,
the book.
All I remember was one word, and it was like had a metal cover or something.
The Sextress presents Sex the book.
That sex book was pretty controversial at the time, huh?
Oh, yeah, big time.
But it's like pretty tame now. Nowadays.
I mean, it's got like vaginas in it. I mean, like, it's tame by the standards of like one of the biggest celebrities in the world doing like full nudity in a coffee table book, which is to say, still pretty rare.
Yeah, I guess.
It's like if Justin Bieber was like, here's a book of me hanging dong.
It can happen.
I mean, I've got my fingers crossed. It's on my vision board.
Guys, I think that this song fucking rolls.
Word.
I think this is, so far, this is my favorite track so far of that we've listened to.
Nice.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I just don't... It's got that same problem that the rest of Hell's Pit has for me, where it's like, it's fine, but it's not... I don't. So far, there's no track on Hell's Pit that I would like put on above like any other like track that I like from any other album. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you love it, but you're not in love with it.
I am falling in love with you.
I really like Jay's kind of the soft spoken delivery that he's using. This softer voice.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I like it a lot.
He's like leveling with you. He's like, look, listen, hey,
this is important.
Yeah. He's confiding in people because friends don't come easily to him.
Yeah. And every time he tries to make one, they always got to go.
It seems to me like this is a person who has a lot of social anxiety, which is like common in a serial killer, I think.
Some strong opinions about society as well.
I collect human heads fresh up off the neck. Look, this is a song about how he doesn't know how to relate to people, but he wants to talk to people, so he collects human heads.
Yep.
Similar to a Misfits song.
He seems to have a pretty extensive collection,
yeah,
considering all of the different activities that he does with his heads.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he takes them like everywhere he goes. I used to work with a guy. He, for comfort, he would bring comic books, or novels, and so everywhere he went, even though he knew he wasn't going to read, it was just a comforting thing for him to have. So he always had on him like books or magazines rolled up in his pockets, and it was just this like comforting thing.
Yeah,
and that's what Violent J uses severed human heads.
I was curious because there's a line in the song where he talks about when he's at work, he plays with their hair with his toes under his desk. Where does he work? What desk job does he have?
Down at the head factory.
Can you imagine he's just like at a call center?
Yeah. You know, that's so funny. I totally accepted it as being funny. He could just take the head out of his bag and put it under the desk, you know?
Yeah.
No one would know. Like
the whole like put a head in the fridge, keep a head in the freezer or whatever thing, like that trope of serial killers, it's extremely rare. Like, Dahmer kept a few heads, and like Gacy, not Gacy, Ed Gein, he like had like some skulls, but like the thing about Ed Gein that people tend to lose track of is like he killed like one person and like maybe two people, but most of his like flesh suit and whatever came from like graves that he desecrated. Like, he was a grave robber more than he was a murderer. But like, I mean, I don't know. I think it's just kind of interesting that like there are certain like serial killer tropes of like making. I mean, am I wrong about like the head in the freezer is like a massive like serial killer or like maniac trope, but like it almost never happens specifically with serial killers, and like it just is an interesting thing to like. It's a trope that is like designed to like make serial killers seem more horrific, but like they don't really need to be more horrific because they exist and they're horror. Like they're like one of the scariest things that I can imagine.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's... Sorry, go ahead, Steve.
Well, I was just thinking, well, a lot of times they probably like keeping a head because
it's cumbersome.
You get caught really easy. And usually in theory they try to be smart and not get caught. I just, as you were talking about it, I just kind of wonder if they also don't like it because it's still a face. Keeping a hand is like super random, and it's just like, oh, there's that disembodied hand. But like someone's face, that's still like a link to their humanity. Like that's still like connected to their identity as a person. And I could just see like them not wanting to have to look that in the face after they've done their deed.
But a lot of serial killers don't have that moral compunction. Like, they don't have the same moral compass. They don't understand. Like, I mean, yeah, there are serial killers where you're right, where it's like they don't want to really think about what they've done. But like, I think it mostly comes down to like the process versus product killers of like what you're getting out of why you're killing. Like, are you killing to obtain a thing, or are you killing like because of the act of killing is what you need to do. But like, there's like a guy who like shaved his victims and like kept the hair, like shaved their heads and like kept the hair in baggies, and like that was his trophy, and that takes up way less space.
And probably doesn't smell as bad.
Probably. But this character, Violent J here, he needs the heads because they're his companions.
Which is not the... Well, is it though? I was going to say that's not really... I didn't want to get too far ahead, but in the film, it's not necessarily like all about Jay's
right.
friends or whatever.
But we're just going the song at face value here.
Right, but I'm thinking about it because the song is in the movie. But so what I think about that specifically, the head in the freezer, is lately I've been making some very low budget videos, and it's really a lot of effort to make a set that looks really great, and especially and so now been watching a lot of really cheesy B movies, low budget movies, specifically like horror and sci-fi movies, because I really like the way that they on a limited budget try to do the best that they can or whatever. And so I've just been in that mindset of like, how do you make good effects with no budget, and you have to use lighting and smoke and whatever. These are like cheap things that you can do. And having a severed head in a freezer is a really low budget, grotesque effect that you can add to your horror movie.
Yeah. And
it's evocative, and it's probably going to make good photography as well, for promoting the film. So like, there's a lot of reasons that's like a great thing to include in your horror movie.
I hope you've seen what our friend Shara has been doing with miniatures. Like, seems like a good way to make it. You should look into that.
Those are awesome. Yeah, they look incredible.
Anywho, yeah, I agree, and that is very much the case in the movie, which we will talk about. I also want to talk about how old this song is, because it came out in the long ago year of 2004, when killing people and keeping their heads was as illegal as smoking weed. Let's talk about the hook, guys. Faces people know more than names. I think Brad Pitt would disagree with that because he has face blindness. The hair is there in all the brains, so they keep the brains intact. Mm-hmm. Your head would mean so much to me. And then I won't diss you. You want to wear a hat? What? How you want your eyelids open or shut is
brilliant.
It's brilliant, but it's so stupid.
It's brilliant.
It's really dumb.
I love it. Oh my god.
Shaggy really taking a back seat to Jay on this.
Oh yeah,
right.
Well, at least Jay let him be on the hook.
He's like half of the hook.
We want to talk about some of the things that they do to the heads. I even put one in the shower. Water comes out the mouth. So what he's saying is he put the head over the shower head. Shower head. Get it?
Mm.
But so then is he putting it... Because at first I thought you would come through the top of the head and create a new hole.
No, you put the water neck hole over the...
But now I'm thinking, just now I had the thought that you could put it upside down. Just put it right on the neck.
Upside down?
Well, you know what I'm saying. What you said.
Okay.
But my original thought was that you would want to come through the top of the head so that the face is looking at you, because if you stick the neck hole on the shower, then the head's upside down.
What? Do you not have a detachable shower head, dude?
Okay.
The song clearly does not say it's a detachable shower.
Okay, that's fair. Well, Ryan, you have one of those overhead ones, right? Like that's on the ceiling?
I have a regular shower head, like a shower head. I have a regular shower head.
I see.
Not a fancy shower head.
Because if you put it on one of those ceiling mounted shower heads, and then you just screw the neck hole in, and then it's like, that would be pretty fun too.
Wiggling his toes in the hair under the desk was my favorite line. I gotta say. But I also like when he names them, because he chooses Pam, Jennifer, Hubert, and Ted, and I just think that's a little bit of magic. Right?
I don't know if he named them. Oh, but you're saying when
Violent J wrote the words.
When he lists the names.
Yeah.
Right. No, this is.
No, I don't really care about Hubert. No, can you believe he included Hubert?
He's great. So good. So Hubert, I always think about him saying Hubert, and it's always the same inflection as like the Jelly Bears Goobers. Like from every Halloween. He like all the best wordsmiths, he enjoys the way certain syllables feel. And you know what? He is correct.
It's almost like the way that he tries to use words and syllables is also like how he uses his hands in the video.
Mm-hmm.
He's very active in this video, and I feel like he does that sometimes, but in this video, it's like a specific thing that he's doing. And he's like pantomiming every lyric, every sentence.
Yes. So am I wrong, or I put him in my bowling bag is like the only time that bowling balls really enters the song? Like that's the connection? Like,
yeah, that's it.
Because they don't say bowling balls in the song, so you're just taken to believe that it's their euphemism for these heads, even though they don't actually say that.
Well, there
is.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, in the hook of the song is a bowling ball rolling and striking the pins.
Nice.
So there's an auditory connection.
So I feel like the music video actually does have more that's not in the movie. There's a lot of things that they do in the actual 3-minute video of the song that's not like and there's a scene in the music video where Shaggy is holding one of the heads like a bowling ball. He's got his fingers in its eye socket and his thumb like in its mouth, and he's like holding it out towards the camera. Mm-hmm. And so there's a physical gesture of a bowling ball, at least in the video, not in the movie. That's not in the movie. Also, I love Shaggy because throughout the video, when Violent J is being very animated with his hands as he's rapping, Shaggy's in the background digging and throwing heads over his shoulder. and stuff. And he's like constantly moving and like shuffling things around in the background and like taking a head off the shelf and throwing it. And I think it's hilarious. And I also love the way he gives that like that blank dumb stare and he's like pointing his machete at the camera. I also thought I love Dr. Wiggle Farmer.
Yes, that was my next point. Is the saga of Dr. Wiggle Farmer.
And so like I mean. So is his therapist? So this was a question I came up with. Is his therapist real, or is he talking to worms? You know, because it's just I don't know. It's just the imagery of Dr. Wiggle Farmer is hilarious to me. However, he is real because his head is on a shelf. Mm-hmm. But in the video, it cracks me up. The music video, it cracks me up because the way he describes, like it seems like it's this giant shelf, and it's like. And he's like really pointing out the location, whereas in the actual video, it's like a little small shelf, and it's just like right there. It's the little things.
So what I don't know is whether he killed his therapist and took his head, and that's Dr. Wiggle Farmer,
or if his therapist is now is a person that he killed that he talks to as his therapist.
Right.
Mm. And Wiggle Farmer might be a backronym or like a retcon because as Steve said, the head might have worms in it, and he now gives it the nickname Dr. Wiggle Farmer because the thing is
a worm farm,
right.
Farming some wiggles.
I do love the thought of Violent J brushing for Head's teeth at once,
using his
hands and feet. Great.
Yeah, that's great. And he has a dog.
Yeah, not featured.
Right. Just not even really a shout out, just a reference.
Wait, the only thing I don't understand is Dr. Wiggle Farmer asked me for a couple of pills or a couple of heads.
I thought heads.
Okay.
Yeah, it's normal.
Okay.
As long as you brush their teeth. Bring me a couple. And Jay's like, I got plenty. Yeah. No problem, Doc.
He gave him 2 like double trouble.
He plays a lot of sports. He shoots head hoops, and also he blows air in the mouthpiece, duct tapes it shut, kicks a few around the yard.
He pays Dr. Wiggle Farmer in heads. That's how he obtains his therapy. So it was transactional.
Is that legal?
I mean,
hang on. He's third head down, top row, third shelf. So,
see?
Wait, okay, so how are...
So there's 3...
No, I know.
So the shelf...
So, well, hang on. Wait, if I just said shelf to you, how would you define shelf in your head? If I said shelf.
In my head, a shelf is like one shelf.
Right.
One shelf on a wall.
Right.
One shelf.
Right. But if you were to say a bookshelf, that's different. Because that's a bookshelf.
Right. That's a piece of furniture.
But if you say shelf, that's one piece of wood on the wall, man.
But maybe it's the third shelf, meaning in distance, right? In a horizontal distance, you've got to go 3 shelves. Third shelf. Now go to the top row.
It's distance. It's 3 shelves away.
Right. And then the countdown to the third head. There's Dr. Wiggle Farmer. He's got a lot of shelves.
If I had this many heads, well, I was gonna say if I had this many heads, I have like a little card standee in front of each one denoting who is who. But like I am a collector, and I don't like if I have my bobbleheads on display, I wouldn't have like a thing in front of each one that was like Barry Bonds. Like you should just know,
right?
Like you don't put with your toys, you don't put like Captain Marvel. If someone doesn't know who Captain Marvel is, they'll be like, "Who's this?" And you'll be like, "Captain Wiggle Farmer."
I moved my Cosmic Ghost Rider Marvel Legends figure to my desk here, and I'm looking at it right now, and it's looking real badass. Amazing figure. Yeah, so, what was I gonna say? Oh, he keeps all of his heads, as we observe in the video, he keeps them strewn about all over the house. They're in bookshelves and on the piano or whatever, like all over the couch. They're all over everywhere on the house. And I think that a better way is what the governor does in the series The Walking Dead, where he keeps them in aquariums, because aquariums are going to preserve the head better, right? And also they're much prettier to look at. A little more maintenance, perhaps.
Sounds expensive.
Does it?
I mean, what else are you doing with your life?
Wait. Keeping heads sounds expensive?
Aquariums sound expensive.
Oh, aquariums. It depends on whether they're saltwater. If they're freshwater aquariums, it's not legit. That's for real.
I believe you.
It's nice to have a little aquarium. It's fun. I miss having an aquarium. But I got a kid now. What are you going to do?
My last thing about this song is that it's 3 minutes and 29 seconds long, which for this record is quite long.
Yeah.
Most of the other tracks are, I mean, it's just all the tracks are short on this album.
Well,
but 3:29 is pretty good.
I guess it is the third longest song. Well, the last song is like 12 minutes long. I'm actually kind of surprised there's only one other song that's over 4 minutes on this album, because ICP's made a lot of long songs, and on an album about hell, you'd think they would go really long with some of this, but who knows?
They sure did, yeah, man. They kept it going.
I wanted to go back to with Shaggy, how little he's on the album, and we were saying that he was just on a piece of the hook, but he does have a few extra lines in between where he says stuff like "keep your head up," right, and "I like to kick 'em," and "give me head, bitch." All those things. Those are all really great.
I completely forgot about that. Yes, thank you for.
My favorite one is the way he says it. "I like to kick 'em." It's just.
I like to stick 'em.
So I just wanted to point.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Dr. Wiggle Farmer.
Way to go. All right, shall we move on to the movie?
Try and stop.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, well, if you haven't watched the movie, you can watch it on YouTube, and you can watch it right now. We'll see you in 27 minutes or whatever.
Lovable lovelies. I'm a localer here in town, and I noticed you're having some car trouble. I was wondering if I might be of some service.
Look, our friends are coming, thanks.
That's purely speculation.
Will you just give me 1 second?
Sure.
Amy? What the fuck are you thinking? Huh? Just because he gave us some goddamn flowers, you're just gonna go off with him in the middle of the night? He has a trustworthy face. Did you look at the fuck? He's a goddamn painted clown, Amy.
I guess so. There were two versions of the album that were released. One had a live concert and a 12-minute music video for Real Underground Baby, and the other one had the 3D version of Bowling Balls, which is the version that I purchased. Similar to Shangri-La, where one had a live concert and one had there was two versions, and one came with a DVD of a live concert and the other came with a DVD of a seminar, and I bought both. But at Hell's Pit, I was only going to buy one. But there was a special edition that came with 3D glasses, which never work. And the DVD had both the 3D and standard versions of the film.
I'm looking at the Wikipedia page, and there's a note here that this was the first 3D film shot in high definition.
There's no way that's correct. This is the first Insane Clown Posse 3D movie to be shot in
Bowling Balls was the first 3D film shot in high definition.
Citation needed, my man. Oh wait, there's a citation right here.
Wikipedia.
Oh my god, it's from Newsday? What's happening? How is this possible? All right, keep talking amongst yourselves.
So the bowling balls was directed by Paul Andresen.
Who makes he makes a cameo in the film.
I'm sure he does.
Who is this guy? No one knows.
I feel like we've talked about him before. Yeah, so he had done, we definitely talked about this guy before. I don't know what, he directed, a video short called Born Twisted, Beyond the Freak Show. He directed Shockumentary. That must have been where we talked about him before. Because he had directed a bunch of music videos, a Metallica video, he directed the Meredith Brooks's video, Bitch. Baruch Assault, Pantera. So he had made some pretty rad music videos. I remember talking about him before, and that's kind of how they got hooked up with him. So yeah, he directed this short, Paul Andresen. And I would say it's adequately directed.
Sure, you can see both $100 of the budget up on the screen.
I feel like if from a critical perspective, the writing and the editing or whatever, like the specific choices that they make in the film to like evoke horror or surprise or being funny, I feel like those are all really well done.
Yeah. So this is the most. It's so on the nose, it's so predictable, and nothing out of the ordinary happens at all in the like. It had been so long since I see it that like when I started watching it, I was like, oh, the black guy is smart and they're going to defy conventions by not having him be the first person to die. But no, I was wrong. And it's just like, it's a horror movie, but one where the murderers are the protagonists, which is interesting. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Also, there are some funny things in it. But my favorite thing happens right at the beginning. So the premise is basically that Violent J is a murderer, and so is his deformed brother Shaggy, and they live with their mother in a mortuary, and they have Shaggy run out in front of cars so that they can trick people into going back to their.
I thought it was a bread scheme. I thought it was a bread and breakfast.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I think that's just a fake sign to get people to come.
Wow. So my favorite thing that happens is Shaggy runs out in front of the car at the beginning, going and gets hit by the car and flies over it in stunning high definition special effects. But then they stop. These two ladies stop. And Violent J just like pops up right next to the window, and he says he introduces himself as a localer and says he is the profiteer of a local business, and honestly the movie went downhill for me from there.
There's at least two other great moments.
No, there's
that I'm sure you'll love.
That to me,
I guess downhill. Yeah, that's okay. That's probably fair. Well, but they must have set that up, but he's dragging a body. He didn't plan for those two girls to drop their joint in the car, right? And that's what caused the accident, that she wasn't looking.
Right.
True.
And who's that body that he's dragging?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then Violent J is just there. So it's like somehow they did plan it.
Well, it's just right down the street, though. They're talking for a couple minutes before he pops up.
That's true. He could have just seen the car, huh?
Yeah. Sure.
Well, so I guess my point earlier, what I was trying to say is that one time, Bill, when we were talking about screenwriting, one of the things you told to me is that you don't want to, when you write a script, you don't want to put too much in it that's specific. You want to give room for the director to kind of make it their own story. You want to kind of leave some space for them.
Yeah, I always just leave huge parts out of the scripts I write.
You know what I'm saying?
Figure it out, dummy.
Sure.
So I feel like that's kind of, maybe it feels like what this is. It's like they have sort of an idea, but they're gonna leave it up to somebody to like flush it out and have it something like that. But that didn't happen. So it kind of is just, when I'm listening to the words and I'm thinking about the words on the paper, I'm thinking like, you didn't necessarily do anything wrong. Like it's not that it's not well written. It's just that it's not executed to as great as it could be. I felt like. But anyways, he also says in that conversation with those ladies that their friends are coming, and he says that's purely speculation.
Yes.
And then right before they're about to go, because the one lady definitely does not want to go with him, but the first, Amy or whatever her name is, she says, he's got a trustworthy face.
It's very good.
Yeah, that was great. I also like during that conversation when he's like, you can come in with us or with me, and you can have some tea or some coffee or some lemonade. That cracked me up.
He's being extremely creepy and weird. Yes. Like, really, really not interested.
With the flowers. Flowers.
How did he know they were her favorites?
What does he call them? Tulipies?
Tulipies. And then she says the same thing. How'd you know I love tulipies?
So he's actually pronouncing everything correctly in this universe.
No, what they're setting up there is that he's got some kind of psychic. He's like a psychic vampire. He knew what her favorite flowers were and what she called them.
Yeah, good point. Nice.
Energy vampire.
Ooh, those ones. I do have to say, the neon sign in the background was awesome.
Fuck yeah, man.
She was like, oh, it's a...
That's where the whole budget went on that fucking neon sign.
And I loved how she was like, it's a Running Man. And then the hatchet, after she looks away, that was great.
Yeah. So if you're looking at it from the first scene, this is really well made.
Yeah, then you can stop.
Then I guess you're right. It goes downhill from here.
So yeah, the friends show up and they just kill all the friends, and then that's the movie. It's literally
the movie.
And then they go.
Okay,
and then they go in the basement, and the first lady has been tied up, like the final girl has been tied up, and they do a tug of war with her. And is it Jay or Shaggy that accidentally just pulls out the whole head and spine?
Jay.
And he's like, I was gonna fuck that girl.
Then he starts beating him with it, like swinging and hitting it. That's how it ends. Well, that's how that scene ends, not the whole movie, but I thought that was great. That cracked me up. I know Jay was gonna try to make love to all the ladies at some point. What cracked me up is he kept saying, Mom's gonna get so mad at us. And I was wondering, is Mom really there? Is that more like is that just like an homage to the Bates motel, whatever? But I just thought it was funny. And the funniest part of that was when before the other woman who gets her head ripped off, the other woman who's running through and what is that? The sickle that's up, like scythe. Thank you. How that falls and cuts her head off, and then Violent J's like yelling at Shaggy. He's like, Mom told you to put things up in a proper order. He's like, because people could get hurt, and they're like literally like killing people, and then he's like, I thought that was great.
Yes,
I thought the guy who the dumb stoner guy that was awful. I thought his whole death scene was pretty funny, and I love the fight that they're about to get into. And Violent J's got that bat with all the nails in it. And he just keeps saying, what?
Yes.
What?
I could take you, man. What?
But
do you even see?
But that's a pretty brutal decapitation with the butcher knife. it just keeps going
Oh my
and
God.
going.
It's
And
so
then
much.
and he starts stabbing it, and he stabs it through the mouth, and he stabs the head after it's been decapitated, and then he stops for a second. And then he starts doing it again because you think it's done, and that made me laugh. So it kind of took the brutality out of it a little bit by just adding a little bit of extra, like, goofy slapstick to it.
Absolutely.
Because that was pretty gross. I mean, the head looked very, very fake, which helps with it. But it's just solid. It looked like Shaggy actually had a hard time doing it.
Well, the cutting of the neck part is that's a pretty awesome and grotesque effect. And then it's like a salve comes in of the stabbing that makes it feel a little bit more okay. But the axe, when he kills the guy in the hallway with the axe,
yes,
and then is just repeatedly wet chopping into them, the guy screaming the whole time, that is fucking brutal. That is some violent shit.
It is, but they did it again because that's almost one of my favorite scenes because the way it's shot, it looks like Violent J's dancing to the rhythm of the chopping.
Yes.
And
right.
That again takes a little bit of the shockingness away from it because it's so absurd.
Absolutely.
There is the bowling ball music. I think the hook is in the background playing very, very faintly in that scene when he's dancing, but it feels every time I've watched it, I always initially think he's dancing to the rhythm of the chopping.
The rhythm of the chopping.
There was some good stuff. I don't know, the very end, the guy gets his ding dong cut off because he's getting head and
gets it bit off.
Yeah, that's what I meant, bit off. Yeah, because that lady's going down on
so
him.
The guy driving the car in this scene who loses his ding dong, that's the director.
He is also Chainsaw Charlie from the video Night of the Chainsaw.
Video for Night of the Chainsaw.
It's an ICP song off of. Oh God, what joke?
No, I said I was just surprised that there was a video for it.
Oh, it's great. That video is awesome. Definitely recommend watching that video.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I will eventually.
Yeah.
For sure. 100%.
Perhaps.
Do you guys think that Violent J read The World According to Garp?
No. Read? No. Watched the movie, possibly.
Had it dictated? Oh, yeah, maybe watched the movie.
Dictated.
Right. I always forget there's a movie. John Lithgow.
Yeah.
Robin Williams.
Both of them. At the same time. Anywho,
yeah, I thought it was good. I gotta say, the intercut of the music and the music video parts that have nothing to do with the narrative of the film, that didn't work for me. I didn't agree with that choice.
It feels like it's probably what it is, and that it's only there to make the movie longer.
Well, the one thing that I will say is after the first cut away to the music video, when they cut back to the film, it says 2 hours later, and it does maybe do something to have a musical interlude to help space that out over time, but there isn't really any reason for you to have to experience like it's been 2 hours. It could have just been 15 minutes and literally the film would be exactly the same.
Yeah.
So, there's no reason for it to have been 2 hours later.
Other than it's in continuity with their friends were 2 hours away.
Oh.
Maybe that stuff is all like legitimately in canon though. Like they kill some people and then go into the living room to just sing and dance for a few. And then they go back to work.
Right.
Now, if that's
they had to clean up the body and all that.
If that's legitimately the read, then I approve. But I don't think that's what we're supposed to be. What do I know? Nothing.
Well, I do have to say I like this movie better than I did the first time I ever watched it, and I liked it better as I was writing notes than when we started to prepare, because I watched it and I hadn't watched it in ages, years and years and years, and I watched it and I was like, God damn, this is awful. And I texted you guys that, and then I watched it a few more times and started taking my notes and really paying attention more and more to little things here and there. And And I found myself enjoying it and laughing with repeated viewings.
Okay, wait. Yeah, I do have a couple more notes. So, first of all, when the friends show up, they are driving in a Lincoln Continental Mark 8. I'm going to guess it's a 78. It might be a 79 Lincoln Continental Mark 8. And I know that because my buddy's mom used to drive us around in one, and it was brown, and we called it the cigar. And that car was dope, and those cars are fucking awesome. And so I want to really give them props for choosing that car. It's all white on white. It's a beautiful, beautiful car. And so I want to acknowledge that. But then also when they get out there, the jock, who's also the stoner, lets out a huge fart and says, "I'm hungry." Like, he farts and that makes him hungry, or that's a signal. Instead of his stomach growling, he lets out, it just rips a huge fart.
Yeah, like that's like the one bodily sound you don't make when you're hungry.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good choice.
I'm hungry.
Oh, and there was if I'm not mistaken, Jack Jekyll door knocker.
Yeah, that's right.
On the door. And he's the one that judges you for your negative actions, right? Is that what it is?
No, the Jekyll brothers juggle your sins.
Well, but
one of them juggles
Jack's the one who pulls out the balls and throws them to Jake.
Right. Correct. True.
But
yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
But Jack is the malevolent of the two. He's the one who judges you on your negative actions. So these must be really bad people. I guess the implication of the drugs, it's bad for black people to be smart. I don't know what.
Yeah, I don't know why he's a bad
Asian
guy.
or Asian women to just be Asian.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa, guys.
Well, they don't.
I can't believe you're just airing all this.
I didn't. I guess that's not the. I didn't think they were necessarily bad. Never mind. Yeah, I guess so. I never made that connection until you just said that right now.
Well, I was trying to think about why they would choose Jack. Because it's Hell's Pit record. Why wouldn't they choose the Wraith? You know.
Maybe they had these door knockers left over.
I mean, that's probably the real answer. But wouldn't it be more fun that because they are always killing evil people, you know, people who have done wrong, and so maybe it's just not said, you know. But these were bad people that deserve to die.
I mean, isn't that always true of everyone that ICP kills?
Oh, but just of everyone in general, all people, we're all trash.
Yeah. There is none of us free from sin, not even one.
That's right.
Let he who is without sin bowl the first ball.
Nice, that's where I was going.
Wow.
All right, final thoughts and judgments and what have yous.
2 stars up.
2 stars up. That's good. 2 heads down.
I recommend watching it.
But not listening to it?
Yeah, you could listen to it.
Which do you recommend more?
Listening.
Yeah, takes less time.
The video.
Gotta listen. Just use your.
I just think I think the music video is the bee's knees. It's just so great. The movies. I mean, if you really love ICP, you've already watched that movie. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, if you love them, you've already watched the movie. If you don't love them or are questioning, should I like these guys? Do something else. Save that to when you love ICP. It just occurred
to me that I had at no point looked up when we're supposed to watch Big Money Rustlers in our rehash of everything, but it turns out. How many years after Hell's Pit do you guys want to guess they made Big Money Rustlers?
Oh, wow. Probably.
Because Hell's Pit is basically when we all stopped really paying close attention to them.
Not me.
Well, not Steve, but
I did. Yeah.
I did as well.
I slowed down. I kind of stopped or slowed. I even bought a couple more, but stopped really listening to it heavily with The Tempest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Bill, we Hell's Pit came out right after, well, just like a year or two after you and I met and became friends. But we watched Big Money Rustlers here in San Diego with Amy Berg at my house.
Yeah, I know.
And that would have been 2010.
Yeah, correct. How?
Or 11.
I can't believe you remembered what year that would have been. That's great. That's crazy.
Well, because that's when I moved back to San Diego.
Cool. Yeah, that's true. So 6 years after Hell's Pit.
6 years.
And for the record, Steve, The Tempest is the next full-length album.
After Hell's Pit?
Yes.
I guess it
a
is.
Bunch of EPs.
Yeah, they did a bunch of EPs, and there was The Shining. Like Violent J had his solo album, a second solo album out before that. I guess I was listening to a lot of Twisted too, so it makes it feel like there's a lot more music I was listening to.
All right.
Should we talk about next week? What we're doing next?
Sure, let's talk about it. So next time we get together, we're going to listen to the next 4 tracks off of Hell's Pit, which is tracks 10 through 13. It's 24, Burning Up, Sedatives, and In My Room. And after that, well, hell, that's just 3 more. That's just another 4 tracks or whatever. So, So we've only got 8 tracks left. Only got 8 tracks left in Hell's Pit over a year after we stopped doing this. And after we get through that, which could be anywhere from 3 to 5 more episodes, then it's on to the call. So next week, 24, Burning Up, Sedatives, and In My Room. Thanks to everybody for listening. You can email us, dimcarnival@gmail.com. Follow us on social media, Dim Carnival. Ryan still does great stuff with Instagram, so keep an eye out there. Send us questions, send us thoughts. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, I'm Bill.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Ryan.
And I guess next time we'll be joined by Dr. Wiggle Farmer.
Please wear your masks.
Oh, yeah. Do that. It's important.